Shalom. I want to start off by saying Kal Halal Yamlah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Reka Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth and who rule well. Peace and citations unto the Akim that is spread around the four corners of the earth, spreading this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm the brother Kotas of Zion, coming back through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, with another lesson, with another video, and Lord willing, this video is edifying. So in this lesson, I want to go into an article or a video that I came across. And yeah, man, these people, they don't know how to raise their kids. They don't know how to keep an eye on their children, because the scripture speaks on how you should be and go about children, you know. But these people, they give their children smartphones without any seals or passwords and stuff on it or blockage on it, so they can just download TikTok, for example, and not even knowing what TikTok is all about. You know, the parents, they just give their children these things, these smartphones and these modern day gadgets without even really knowing what it's all about. So in this article, they speak on how TikTok is normalizing child grooming and abuse. So I'm going to play this video and then I'm going to go into the scriptures.
Emily, what's on your radar?
Well, just a few days before the Dobbs leak upended American politics, Forbes dropped a detailed investigation into TikTok live streams, poring over hard evidence. And here's what reporter Alexandra Levine wrote. A Forbes review of hundreds of recent TikTok live streams reveals how viewers regularly use the comments to urge young girls to perform acts that appear to toe the line of child pornography, rewarding those who oblige with TikTok gifts, which can be redeemed for money or off-platform payments to Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App accounts that users list in their TikTok profiles. All right, so let's just quickly pause right there. The barrier to entry into this very seedy environment is remarkably low. You just have to have a TikTok and post a live stream. You're supposed to be over 16 to host one and over 18 to send gifts, but obviously kids are smart. So again, to be exposed to wildly inappropriate sexualization, even in just one creepy comment, all teens have to do is download TikTok and then go live. A 17-year-old girl, South Carolina girl named Madison, told Forbes that some of her underage friends were raking in $200 a week from their TikTok live streams. Even if you're too young to make money, Madison said, that doesn't prevent, quote, older men trying to sexualize girls. Here's more from Levine's interview with her. Quote, "Can we see brown shirt topless?" one commenter asked as Madison and her friend in a brown shirt answered questions on a TikTok live last month. Madison was also asked to show a bit, please, and stand over cam. Even after her lives end, some viewers have followed up with Madison through Instagram and offered to pay her to speak with them. Another girl told Levine, "You can't even go live on TikTok without getting weirdos trying to get pictures out of women." In just one TikTok live last month, wrote Levine, Brown and her roommate brought more than 500 strangers into their house virtually, were asked to meet up with men in person to golf, old guys her dad's age, and were offered as much as $50 for photos of their feet. Brown said she wouldn't take cash for photos of her feet, but others certainly would. $20 is $20, she said. That's coffee a few times a week. Now, Brown is 18, to be clear, but her experience on TikTok seems to be characteristic of what girls find when they jump on these live streams, and of course it is. Of course that's what's happening. The duality of social media reflects the duality of human beings, and it always has. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. Naturally, the sexual deviancies and appetites of users will shape the contours of the content. But TikTok isn't a paper manufacturer, a web server, or a phone company. It uses a sophisticated algorithm to curate content and addict users into spending as much time as possible glued to the screen. Ethical tech should strive to make a profit while having a net positive impact and minimizing humans' worst natural instincts. If you're, say, the Chinese government and members of your ruling party are installed all over the staff and control of the most popular app in America, where the children of your adversary are spending hours of their formative years, How might you approach TikTok? By the way, that's not hypothetical. That is actually what's happening with TikTok. China knows how powerful TikTok is as a cultural weapon because ByteDance runs its parallel app very differently there, with government propaganda, strict time limits, and mandatory pauses. Now, I'm not saying that's what should happen in America, but to stay in parents' good graces, TikTok has some limits here. They're just enormously difficult to enforce. And the damage is already done once a sexual comment aimed at a young girl is posted. Again, this has happened throughout human history. When I was in high school, I remember at one point the moral panic was over chat roulette, except it was more of a joke at the time than a moral panic. This is when social media was relatively new, YouTube itself was relatively new, and in retrospect, there really was nothing funny about teenagers clicking through live feeds of strangers' genitalia, let alone interacting with them. But of course, older people have always found ways to exploit younger people sexually, and as technology has evolved, they've naturally used it to facilitate that abuse. Yet TikTok is on another scale entirely. The app is bad for many reasons, from national security to wrecking our attention spans, but this one is especially clear-cut. This is happening every single day under our noses, and we will never be able to repair the damage done to each kid who encounters exploitive content just today, from the moment I finish this sentence until the moment my head hits the pillow. It may seem normal in the age of the internet, and I think it actually does to those of us who grew up with instant messaging apps and later social media, which connects people anonymously in many cases of all ages without any community accountability together at the swipe of a thumb. We're not meant to live like this. So where are all the voices who clamor for corporate boycotts of objectionable content when that content is merely politically intolerable to them? We can all agree TikTok is at least facilitating this abuse of its live stream technology. So why is nobody calling for an advertiser boycott? TikTok was slower out of the gate in ad revenue, but now most of its revenue comes from ads. And you can see just this spring, a report found that TikTok's ad revenue is expected to triple this year. Triple. Quote, skyrocketing interest in the platform among consumers and brands alike is propelling TikTok's ad revenue, which is expected to overshadow Twitter and Snapchat's ad revenue combined, Marketing Dive wrote, analyzing a new report from Insider Intelligence. So there's your answer. TikTok is lucrative. Corporate America will ignore the glaring ethical lapses and cash out until consumers and regulators make it harmful for them to do otherwise. So as consumers, let's get right on that. Ryan, this drives me crazy because every time Tucker Carlson says something that people on the far left deem objectionable, they call for corporations to exert more power over political discourse, right? Corporate boycott of Tucker, pull out of Laura's show, and as your corporation, you are, exerting your idea of what the political discourse should look like with your corporate power and your money. Nobody talks about a corporate boycott of TikTok. There's absolutely nothing. Do you think it's because a lot of people, there's an age gap, they don't understand exactly how bad TikTok is, they don't know how easy it is for older men to just dive into these live streams that young girls are doing with their friends? Or do you think it is because, honestly, it's not worth it for them to even consider if they have such a lucrative sort of ad placement on TikTok?
They probably also don't really understand what TikTok's revenue model is.
Sure, yeah.
And also don't have a specific target. So it's like you want Tucker Carlson's show, or Bill O'Reilly being a good example. They targeted Bill O'Reilly, you wanted Bill O'Reilly off the air. You talk to Dove and all the other companies that you see advertising, or whoever was advertising at the time on the O'Reilly factor. You pressure them to take the ads down. There's an ABC that people can understand. Whereas when it comes to TikTok, it's like, well, how do you kind of demonetize that creep who was asking for that thing? It's like the problem is the whole thing, rather than any particular show that you can find a particular advertiser supporting. So I actually think that we should just ban TikTok in the United States, because I believe that in a democracy that we should be able to have some democratic say over the way that we structure our society, and we can't with TikTok.
Yeah.
It's not ours. It's basically a foreign app. I mean, I know there's been some effort to get U.S. investors and
it's BS.
Involved in it or
the
whatever.
way that they've tried to restructure has been smoke and mirrors. They're still based in Beijing and owned by ByteDance.
And so banning it is by no means a solution to the various overlapping social media crises that we have.
No.
But it's a start. If you don't do that, you're just you're just handing to this company the weapons to just constantly sow as much misery and emotional and political turmoil as they see fit. And they don't even they want to make a profit, but that might not be their ultimate objective.
Yeah, if you look at the top yearly trends on TikTok, it's amazing how much time kids are spending on this app. Like, not to sound like Ben Shapiro, but the WAP video was one of the top trends on TikTok, which is like fine if you're 20 years old. But there are a lot of kids who are not 20 years old who are scrolling through it, and that's again the least of the concerns. I think the bigger concerns are about like really, really sexual situations that you can get into on live streams, where again, like people from that are our age, older, know like what that was like on the instant message boards in the 90s and in the 2000s. But on TikTok, again, like this is where kids are spending an insane amount of time. They're very young. It's totally unsupervised. You don't have to sit at the desktop computer and log onto the dial-up with your parents walking around in the background. So there's just so many problems with it. I would say the ban on national security grounds is a pretty obvious substantiation for how that would happen. But this is why, to me, it's so much deeper than even just TikTok, as you said. Like banning TikTok, as consumers, I think people need to take this much more seriously. And I'm not sure that older people who are now parents and use Facebook in some very normal ways, like playing games or connecting with people from high school, whatever it is, understand exactly how bad this has gotten for a 12-year-old who's spending a lot of unsupervised time on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. The access and the ease at which it can access you without your control of just seedy people with bad intentions who are shaping young hearts and minds like literally every single day with exploitive bad intentions. It is chilling.
Yeah, right. Just start over, build it the way that we feel is appropriate for a democratic society, rather than just having it foisted on us.
It's so exploitive. It's so exploitive, and they're making a ton of money off of it too. So. Just another way we are being exploited by corporate America.
Corporate China, too.
Yes, that's a good point. Right, I am looking forward to what's on your radar next.
Gone. So you have predators that are coming to these underage TikTok live feeds, and they're blasting their the comment section, the comment board with, these suggestions, which toe the line with, like the woman said, child pornography, So now they are seeing that this is being a problem. This is a problem. But for a spiritual man, a spiritual man is not gonna let his child, come into certain situations like this. You as a spiritual man, you're supposed to train up your child in the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You're supposed to give them moral codes. You're supposed to give them the instructions from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, from the Most High. You're supposed to install that fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai within them. See, so that when certain things like this happen, that how do you call it? A predator comes on their feet, that they're seeing this instantaneously, and they are gonna act accordingly. They're gonna block it or do whatever to evade that situation. But like you were reading and seeing in this video, some of these underage children, they went into that proposal, and then they got gifts which they were exchanging for money, But the scriptures speak on how you should train up a child, how you should deal with your child, so that they won't be ashamed unto you. Because these things, you shouldn't give your child access to all these things, man. Your child is supposed to have limits, structure, rules, so that they don't be stubborn when they grow up. That they're gonna be a good person in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You see? So let's go to the book of Proverbs. Let's start off with that. Proverbs 22:6. And it reads, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Can't. So when a child is young, you're supposed to train him up. You're supposed to train her up. You know, in the Dutch, they have a saying, jong geleerd is oud gedaan. So when they are young, you teach them when they're young, then it's automatically in their system when they get old, you know, certain things. And what are you supposed to teach a child? You know, to fear the Most High, to walk in His ways, to walk in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Keep the dietary laws, you know, so because otherwise you're gonna get sick, you're gonna get ill. You know, because our people, who are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we cannot eat certain things without getting sick. You know, it could be short-term or long-term. It's gonna make you ill. It's gonna develop a disease within your body. So the Most High gave us these laws, these dietary laws, and if you don't obey them, we are gonna be you are under the curses. So if you don't obey them, then certain illnesses are gonna overtake us, you know. So you should train up a child in the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushai when he is young, so that he won't depart when he's older. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Sirach 30. 8 until 13, and it reads, a horse not broken becometh headstrong. So if you have a horse, a young horse, and you don't break him in, you know, you're gonna have trouble later on, because you have to show him who's boss, you see. And the child left to himself will be willful. So let's go into that word, willful. Willful, which is not the first one, of a bad or harmless act, intention, deliberate, willful acts of damage. No, we're looking for the second one, which is having or showing a stubborn and determined intention to do as one wants. You see? Regardless of the consequences, a spoiled, willful child. You know, so you shouldn't, if you have a child that is left on his own, he is going to be spoiled. He's going to be willful. He's going to be doing whatever he wants, you know, regardless of the consequences. So you should train up a child. You should break, just like with a horse that you should break in, you should bow down his neck, like the scripture is going to say. Verse 9, conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. And if you go into that word conquer, to pamper. You see? Conquer, treat with excessive indulgence. Grandparents often pamper the children. Let not mollycoddle our students. So treat with excessive indulgence. So, which means to pamper and to spoil a child. So when it says, spoil thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. So if you look at this picture here, they're spoiling this child, but this is exactly what the scripture is speaking about. So if you spoil him, then that child is going to make you afraid. Why? Because the next time when you don't spoil him, when you don't give him what he wants, he or she is going to act a fool. And you are going to be afraid of that child. And that's what you often see with these Edomite children. You know, they are so spoiled that when they are in a public area, they don't know how to act. So the parents are afraid. They're like, okay, no, give him what he wants. No, don't do that because he gets upset. No, man, that's not how you're supposed to raise a child. You're the parent, you're the boss, and you're supposed to bow down their necks. Discipline your children. So conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness. You see, you're not supposed to be too playful with your children, because you're there as a parent to show them how hard the world really is, to discipline them, to show them that nothing comes for free. Of course, you can play with your children, but not too much, because they are going to bring you either to heaviness, like the scripture says, because they're going to think you're a clown. They're going to think you're only making jokes, yeah, that's my father, don't worry about him. No, man, they should take you serious. Verse 10, Sirach 30, verse 10. Laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end. You see? So you shouldn't be constantly laughing with your children, when they are doing folly and stuff like that. You shouldn't laugh at them. You should correct them, And afterwards, I saw this clip once, about this Jamaican so-called character. He walked in his son's room, and his son was cussing. Kinda. He wasn't really cussing, but he was like using something similar that sounds similar to a cuss word. So the father came into the room angry. He's like, what did you say, boy? Don't let me hear you say that again. No, but I didn't say that. I said something else. It doesn't matter. Don't let me catch you here say that word again. So later on that day, they ate, and he put the child to bed. But when the father sat down to watch TV, he was thinking about what this child said, and that was real creative, no? So he was laughing with it himself, having a beer. It's like, man, that boy's silly. But when you're in front of him, keep it serious. Otherwise, he's going to take you for a joke, you see? Verse 11, give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies. So when he comes with certain stupid things, don't act and laugh together with him. Don't act like a clown. Don't make it like a jokey joke type of thing. No, man, you're the parent. You're the one that needs to discipline him. If you don't discipline him, then the society is going to discipline him. Then the police is going to discipline him, and that's not what you want. You don't want him to be a shame unto your name. You don't want him to be in jail, or even worse, end up dead. You see? Verse 12, bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. Like I was just going into, you should chasten them when they're young, so that they don't become a headache when they're older, so that they are not stubborn when they're older. And the scripture says, see, but you can also apply this to a girl, Certain girls are maybe more outgoing, so, or more comical or whatnot. So the same scriptures apply to them also, bow down their necks, don't laugh at their folly, correct them as soon as you see something's going off, Let's go to, let's see, Sirach 42, verse 9 till 11, and it reads, the father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth. So you see, this is the stress that you deal with if you're a father of a daughter. And the care for her taketh away sleep. So you're going to be awake late at night waiting on what time your daughter comes back. Because she's a woman, she's a female. If she's gone to the club, you're going to wait for her. You're going to maybe even go get her at the door of the club, to make sure that she comes home safe. Because you know how men are. You yourself are a man. You know how you were when you were a teenager. So, you're going to lose sleep because of that. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. You see? So if she's a virgin, but she is already of a marriageable age, or that she has the flower of her age, you don't want her to be defiled and just come with some dude, saying to you that I impregnated your daughter. No, man, that's not what you want. That's going to be a shame unto you. Like it says, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. No, man, that's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be married, you're supposed to be out of the house, and then you can do what you want, because then you belong to other men. But now when you're still in your father's house, then you're your father's responsibility. And having an husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. Gone. So if she has a husband and the husband comes to complain to the father, like, yeah, your daughter does this and this and that, that's also a shameful thing. You see? Keep a sure watch over a shameful daughter, lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies. Gone. So that's kind of like what we are going into with the TikTok videos. If you have a daughter that is doing that, that's shameful to you. That's shameful to your name. If you had people that kind of, envy you, or that look at you like, yeah, man, he's doing good for himself. Look at him and his family and his daughters or stuff like that. And then your daughter comes and does some bullshit like this. That's a shame unto your name. Like the scripture says, a good name is more valuable than gold. Roughly paraphrasing. Let me just get it. Good. Gone. This is Proverbs 22, verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Sirach 7 and 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. You see? So a good name is very important. And if your daughter comes and she defiles that, that's going to be a shame unto your name. Lest she make thee a laughingstock to thy enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitudes. You see? So you, like a man of the Lord, you are walking the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and your daughter, she becomes, this shameful daughter. She does what she will. She's stubborn, and she doesn't respect her father and mother. You're going to be the talk of the town. You're going to be the laughingstock of the town for your enemies. And you're going to be ashamed in a multitude of people. You see? So don't give her the chance to do that. But these people giving their children TikTok and not knowing what the hell they're doing on that TikTok, going live, and people coming on their comment boards, that's not the way you should train up a child, man. You shouldn't train them up with this folly. Because like the scripture says, folly is set in great dignity. These stupid 5-second or 20-second clips that people be doing for attention, like the scripture says, in the end, there should be lovers of themselves. You see? And you see that in abundance with these people right now, that they are what's that word? When you're in love with yourself, and when you're infatuated with yourself, you got to take selfies the whole day. You got to make dances for likes. You see? And that's that time we're living in right now, man. So you shouldn't give your daughter the chance to do these things, man. To go in the ways of the world. If you have a daughter. Let's go to the last scripture, which is in the book of Sirach also. Sirach 7, verse 25. Let me start at 23. And it reads, Hast thou children, instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. So that's the whole reason of this lesson. That you should bow their necks down when they're young, and they're not gonna bring shame onto your name. They're not gonna grow up to be stubborn. They're not gonna grow up to be a shameless daughter or to become a stubborn man, you know. This is Sirach 7, verse 24. Hast thou daughters, have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful towards them. You see, when you have daughters, you have to take care of their body. You have to protect them. You have to make sure that they don't get defiled by these hyenas, the men that are running around. You see? And show not thyself cheerful toward them. Exactly. Your daughter is supposed to respect you as a man, respect you as a father. You see, you shouldn't be constantly laughing with your daughters. Verse 25. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter. You see? So back in the day, not like how things are right now, like these 15-year-old girls are going online, and, as soon as they have that itch, then, they're going to do certain things just to get recognition from men, from boys, or from men. You see, but back in the day, as soon as she has passed the flower of her age, you would marry her, but you would marry her to a family that is well respected and has understanding. You see, so you as a father, you would marry her, meaning that not you yourself as the father would marry her. No, you would espouse her, you would give her to a family that, is going to do well. A family that, that walks in the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, a respectable family, that won't bring shame onto your name. You see? So it says, marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Gone. You see, so you often see in these movies when a boy is trying to take, or when a boy is coming to take a girl to the prom, the father talks to him, ask him what he's all about, what is his family about. But actually it's supposed to start way before that. You're supposed to know who your daughter's dealing with. You're supposed to know who you're marrying her onto. You see? When you're supposed to, back in the ancient days, you would have something like arranged marriages. But nowadays, it's only the Muslims that still do that. Only the Arabs. But actually, it's something that we used to do. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. You see? But nowadays, we have been so lost, that we don't remember our heritage. But we used to have these arranged marriages, and then we would give our sons and daughters to respectable Israelites. You see? Yeah, man. So actually, this is the way that it was supposed to go. That's how we used to have arranged marriages, and then you would still keep and have a respectable name because you would give her to a man of understanding. You see? But nowadays you have situations like this where TikTok is normalizing child grooming and abuse. So, yeah, man, this is just a quick video that I wanted to bring out about this topic that I came across. And yeah, man, I hope this video is edifying. And I want to say, Kal halal yom la, Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, Basham Reka Kodash, Shalom Akim.